Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cozy English Stories. Today, I have a special story for you, one that's a little personal, but has a message I think many of you will appreciate. It is about a simple encounter with a stranger that completely changed the way I see the world. So, find a comfortable spot, maybe grab a cup of tea, and let's begin. It all started on a gray Tuesday afternoon. I remember it was raining, that kind of light, persistent rain that makes everything feel a little sad and slow. I had just finished a very difficult meeting at work. It was one of those meetings where nothing goes right. My project proposal was rejected, my boss seemed disappointed, and I felt like I had failed. Walking out of the office building, I felt a heavy weight on my shoulders. All I wanted to do was get home and forget about the day. I rushed to the bus stop, holding my bag over my head to protect myself from the rain. The bus was late, of course. It felt like the universe was conspiring against me. As I stood there, feeling sorry for myself, I was replaying the meeting in my head. I was thinking about all the things I could have said differently, all the ways I could have prepared better. My mind was a storm of negative thoughts. I was so focused on my own problems that I barely noticed the world around me. Finally, the bus arrived, crowded and steamy. I managed to squeeze my way on and found a single empty seat near the back. I slumped into it, sighing heavily. As the bus moved through the wet city streets, I stared out the window, but I wasn't really seeing anything. My thoughts were still stuck at work, circling around my failure. I felt small and insignificant. Have you ever had a day like that? Where one bad thing makes everything else feel terrible too? That's when I noticed him. Sitting across from me was an old man, probably in his late 70s. He had kind, wrinkled eyes and a gentle smile. He was holding a small, worn-out book in his hands, but he wasn't reading it. Instead, he was looking out the window just like me, but there was a big difference. While I was seeing the gray, miserable city, his eyes seemed to be sparkling with joy. He was watching the raindrops race each other down the glass, and he had a look of pure fascination on his face. I found it a bit strange. What was there to be so happy about? It was just rain. It was just a normal, boring bus ride. But I kept watching him. A young mother with a crying baby got on the bus. People looked annoyed. I felt a little annoyed too, to be honest. But the old man looked at the baby with so much warmth. He made a funny face, a little peekaboo gesture, and the baby stopped crying for a second and stared at him with wide, curious eyes. The mother gave the old man a tired but grateful smile. I was still watching, intrigued. A few stops later, a group of teenagers got on, laughing and talking loudly. They were taking up a lot of space, and a few people, including me, felt a bit bothered. The old man, however, just listened to their conversation with a soft smile, as if he was enjoying their youthful energy. It was like he was in a completely different reality from me. We were on the same bus, in the same city, on the same rainy day, but he was experiencing joy while I was drowning in my own misery. I couldn't help but feel curious. I wondered what his secret was. Maybe he had a perfect life. Maybe he had no problems. But looking at his simple clothes and his old, well-loved book, I doubted that was the case. He just seemed to have a different perspective. As the bus neared my stop, I knew I had to say something. It was a little out of character for me. I don't usually talk to strangers, but I felt a strong urge to understand his secret. I stood up to get off, and as I passed him, I hesitated for a moment. Then I leaned down slightly and said, "Excuse me, sir. I hope you don't mind me saying this, but you seem like one of the happiest people I've ever seen, especially on a day like today." He looked up at me, and his smile widened. His eyes crinkled at the corners. "Oh," he said, his voice surprisingly strong and clear. "Thank you, young man. But it's not about the day. It's about what you choose to see." I was a bit confused. "What do you mean?" I asked. He gestured toward the window. "Well," he began, "you can look out there and see a gray, wet, and inconvenient day. Or you can see how the rain cleans the streets, how it makes the green leaves in the park look brighter. You can hear the rhythm it makes on the roof of the bus. It's the same rain, but a different story, isn't it?" He then pointed to the seat where the mother and baby had been sitting. "You can be annoyed by a crying baby, or you can see the miracle of a new life and the deep love of a mother. He glanced toward the front of the bus where the teenagers were now getting off. You can be bothered by loud young people, or you can remember the joy and freedom of being young and feel happy for them. He paused and looked directly at me. His gaze was incredibly kind. Every day, he continued, we are given thousands of tiny moments of beauty, of kindness, of life. Most of us are too busy, too worried, too focused on the big problems to even notice them. But the secret to happiness isn't getting rid of all your problems. It's about learning to see the good things that exist alongside the problems. It's a choice you make every minute of every day. I was speechless. His words were so simple, yet so profound. It was like a light had been switched on in a dark room. All day, I'd been focused on my one big problem, the failed meeting. And because of that one problem, I had painted my entire world gray. I had missed the rhythm of the rain, the mother's love, the energy of youth. I had missed all the small, beautiful moments that were happening right in front of me. The bus came to a stop. It was my stop. I needed to get off. Thank you, I said, my voice full of emotion. Thank you very much. You've given me a lot to think about. He simply nodded and smiled. Have a wonderful evening, he said. Enjoy the walk in the rain. I stepped off the bus and into the cool, wet air. But something had changed. The rain no longer felt miserable. It felt fresh and clean. As I walked home, I didn't rush. I looked around. I noticed the beautiful reflections of the streetlights on the wet pavement. I saw a couple sharing an umbrella, laughing as they huddled close together. I heard the distant sound of a saxophone playing a lonely, beautiful tune. My problem at work hadn't disappeared. The failed project was still a reality, but it no longer filled my entire mind. It was just one part of my day, not the whole story. The old man on the bus had taught me that I was the author of my own story. I could choose to write a story of failure and misery, or I could write a story of resilience, observation, and small joys, even on a difficult day. That night, instead of feeling sorry for myself, I made a hot meal, put on some music, and started thinking about my project again. But this time, I wasn't thinking about the failure. I was thinking about what I had learned from it. I was thinking about how I could make it better next time. The old man's perspective had given me a new kind of energy. I never saw that man again, but his words have stayed with me ever since. He was a stranger on a bus, but he became one of my greatest teachers. He taught me that happiness isn't a destination we arrive at when all our problems are solved. It's a way of traveling. It's the practice of finding the good in every day, no matter the weather. It's a choice. A choice to see the beauty in the ordinary, the kindness in strangers, and the opportunities in our challenges. So now whenever I have a bad day, I think of him. I remember to look for the raindrops racing on the window, and I try to choose a better story for myself. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. I hope it gives you something to think about as well. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more cozy English stories. See you next time.